We will go ahead and continue our post-race media availabilities with our race-winning team. We have crew chief Cliff Daniels and our winning driver, Kyle Larson. We will go ahead and open it up for questions. We'll start down here with Cole and then go to Zach and Nathan.
Cole Kusaman with the Arizona Republic. Kyle, post-race, AJ said it sucked losing to you twice. Just curious what it felt like to beat him twice on a road course.
Obviously, when he came out in second behind me, you get nervous again. I hadn't really seen him much all day, so I didn't know how good he was. But I felt like my car today was much better than my car yesterday, so I had more confidence out in front of him today than yesterday too. So was able to gap him pretty well through the S's. I haven't looked at data, but match him pretty well everywhere probably but the bus stop. Maybe a little bit in turn 6, but I felt like 7 in the S's, I could really get away from him, and that helped me protect from him getting close enough to dive bomb in there. I figured day 2 he'd be a little bit more aggressive behind me than yesterday, but thankfully our car was good enough I could gap him.
Then Cliff, just curious if your strategy plans changed after the rains came.
Not necessarily. We had kind of looked at it 2 different ways with rain mileage or in the dry. You could still really two-stop the race, so it was much more of a fuel race than it was a tire race. So we kind of had a fuel number that we wanted to hit either way. What is interesting is what the 17 did, where they were one of the first ones to take dry tires, made up a lot of time that way. They pitted so early, I knew that they were going to have to make, a third pit stop to the field. They actually did a great job. I'm curious to know all the details of how they executed it, but I think they did fuel only before the end of stage 1, and then they cycled through ahead of us still. So that's a pretty interesting way to do it, and credit to them for kind of seeing that. I believe all 4 of the Hendrick cars, we had all kind of seen and communicated very similar that we wanted to two-stop the race either way. Our plan the whole time is to two-stop the race. We knew that with starting in wet conditions, naturally you can get a dry line, and there's going to be the excitement of guys, really going fast once they put on dry tires, but it's a lot to ask to make 3 pit stops against guys that can manage doing it in 2. Unfortunately, we fell off a little bit hard at the end of our stint on the wet tires, which put us a little more vulnerable to the field. But he did a good job on some of the restarts, getting back up there once we got dry tires on it. Knew our car had pace, so I know that was a long-winded answer to what you asked, but that was kind of the scope of our day.
Thank you. Congrats, guys.
Go to Zach.
Zach Sternadler with NASCAR.com. Kyle, obviously contact with Chase there going to turn 1. Just what was your perspective on that, and do you feel like you have to have a conversation with Chase after the way things played out?
Yeah, I thought I figured I had the restart before, and I got kind of put in a bad spot because he had the dominant position on me with the nose ahead, and it kind of every time I was in the right lane yesterday in Xfinity, I was in the same spot, and I would always get pinched into the curb, and a lot of times I got passed by the time we got to turn 2. So I figured it was probably gonna be the last restart of the weekend, and I told myself if I had a nose ahead of him before we got to the braking zone, I was gonna have to try my best to maintain that and not let him get a nose ahead of me and pinch my corner off and in my chance of winning. So I had a good restart, and I got in there hot and did what I had to do to win. So again, I'm not necessarily proud of it, especially with a teammate, but I feel like I had to execute that way to get the win.
And then you guys have had contact this year already, going back to Auto Club, which was your other win. What do you feel like your relationship is with Chase, just generally speaking?
I feel like we've been in a good spot. You were able to talk after the incident at Auto Club and moved on past that pretty quickly. So I haven't seen an interview. I haven't seen anything about Chase. After today, I think today at Auto Club it was more of an accident. Today it was hard racing at the end on a restart. So I'm sure it'll warrant some sort of conversation. But I don't know. So we have a quick week this week with testing at Martinsville, and Saturday night race at Daytona. So it's a much shorter week, and look forward to getting back on track.
Thank you.
We'll come down here to Nathan and then all the way in the back to Zach.
Nathan Sun with the podium finish. Kyle, you just touched on it, and Jeff did as well when he was in here. Just some conversations that could happen about this. How do you get it all straightened out so you guys are on the same page going into the playoffs?
I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody really yet. We've just been taking pictures and stuff. So I'm sure I'll have a conversation with Jeff Gordon and Rick and probably Jeff Andrews and then I'm sure Chase as well. So I think it's risky taking the left lane here at Watkins Glen. It's definitely the preferred lane as the leader, but as each restart gets further on in the race, whether it be at the end of the stage or into the race, you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position to get used up on exit. So you've seen it a lot of different times, in the years past, and you take note of that, and like I said, I did what I felt like I had to do to get the win and get some bonus points that we kind of desperately need as we head on in the playoffs.
Yesterday, you said your goal is to get to second in points by the end of the regular season. Obviously, winning a race does a lot towards that. How confident are you right now, just in terms of getting more wins once you get into the playoffs?
Yeah, our cars have been really fast all year. I feel like all of Hendrick Motorsports has been really quick. Chase's team has done an extremely good job all year compared to the field, really, of executing. And I think that's just really the one area that we've tried to focus on for a while now. It's hard. It's easy to say, and it's sometimes hard to do while you're racing. But if we can continue to have days like today where we executed as good as we could. We called a great race with pit strategy. We did a great job on our pit stops. Every restart, I think we moved forward, and we brought a fast race car into the track. So if we can continue to do that as we go on to these next 11 weeks, I'm pretty confident that we can go contend for another championship.
And I believe at one point you were racing with Kimi Räikkönen. Just what was that like?
Yeah, it was cool. I think by the time I got to him, he was kind of struggling. He looked like he was really loose in front of me, and I was able to make quick work of him. So just really cool. It's for him to step out of his comfort zone and come play with us, stock car racers, and to get to and it was more than just Kimi. The international drivers racing today was pretty cool. They were all I think I passed every one of them at some point, and it was fun watching them up ahead of me, being really aggressive. They're as good as it gets when it comes to heavy braking and stuff like that. So I could watch people up in front of me try to make a move on them, and they wouldn't be able to make the pass. So that's just their experience, playing part today, and it was fun to be a spectator at points of the race.
We're going to go in the back to Zach, then to Jeff, Dustin, and Marty.
Zach Catan's ready, kickingthetires.net. AJ was quite complimentary to you after the race. He said, quote, he believes you're the most badass racing driver on the planet right now. To hear respect from a fellow all-around racer like AJ, and then to be raced very hard and clean at the end, what does that really make you feel?
Yeah, no, it's cool. I've always had a lot of respect for AJ. I've always believed that, and I think it's a little bit less of that now because he does a really good job in the Xfinity Series. But I feel like he's one of, if not the most underrated guys in the NASCAR, any series in NASCAR of my career that I've had in stock cars. So you can just tell when drivers are really good. And for AJ to put himself in position every single time on a road course, whether it be any series that he's in, is amazing. As well as as good of a job as he does in the Xfinity Series on ovals. I feel like he really carries that car a lot of the time. You can compare him to his teammates, and he's always outrunning them. So I feel like that's a good way to kind of judge how good a driver is. And there's no doubt in my mind, if he was in equipment equal to mine, he would be winning races frequently. So he continues to get better, and I love getting the chance to race with him. So it was a lot of fun to have him in my mirror these last two races and try to keep my nerves down enough to hold off the best road racer.
We'll go to Jeff, then to Dustin.
Just, I mean, how do you make sure that this doesn't carry over to the playoffs where like Chase is gonna race you hard back as you've raced him? Like, is there any concern about that, coming down to some sort of key moment at the Roval or something, and he's like, well, he has this memory in his head.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think in my position, you have to expect, not getting any breaks cut, my way. So you have to weigh all that stuff out as you're rolling around under caution, and that's kind of all stuff that has crossed my mind. So I don't know. I think, and I hope it'll be fine. But we'll see. So I didn't end his day today, but I did probably take a win from him. So I don't know. I mean, I think we've raced well in the past, and in the next 11 weeks, but 10 weeks in the playoffs, there's more than just me to worry about. So, but yeah, I definitely know there may be moments throughout the playoffs where I feel like we're around each other a lot, because we're pretty equal on track and stuff. So, there may be moments, but in my position, you kind of have to accept it.
Dustin Albino, JC.com. For you, Cliff, because Kyle kind of answered it, but it's obviously been 6 months since you guys had won a race at Fontana. For a team that won 10 times last year, 5 times in the regular season, how tough is it to manage that when, you're getting all these breaks last year, a lot of dominance, and this year maybe those same breaks haven't gone your way?
Yeah, for sure. It's been tough. And, a lot of that, I've got to say, starts with me, right? I'm the leader of the team. I help coach him, the pit crew, the road crew, all the guys at the shop. There's a lot of different areas that I have to cover. And I'm very, I would say happy and pleased with the prep that we put into putting a fast race car on track, and how to look at our strategy and how to look at all the different things until we get to the moment. And in the moment, for whatever reason or another, all summer we've kind of been plagued by like one little mistake here and there. If it's been, a pit call or a pit stop or a restart or some little thing that has impacted our day and kept us from getting a good finish. So I take a lot of that to heart, and we have a lot of very honest conversations within our team of what we have to do to make sure, hey, when you have one of the best drivers, if not the best driver in the world, and all the talent in our team that we had last year, and all of the folks at Hendrick Motorsports giving us great cars and engines and all the things that they have given us, it really does boil down to execution. I will say the next gen car has presented a completely different challenge for executing a race, managing tire fall off, managing strategy, a lot of different things that we wanted it to bring about. And we certainly, I certainly own the share of mistakes that I've made in that. And we continue to kind of, keep a tally in a healthy way to say, hey, here was a missed opportunity. Here was a missed opportunity. Here's what that looked like. Here's the supporting evidence to look for the next time to not make that same mistake again. Those are conversations that we have, with him and within our team, of just how to be better and to execute better. Very proud of the team today, proud of him today, because we needed that, kind of that token of confidence to say, hey, we brought another fast race car to the track this week. Can we keep it up front? Can we execute the race and have a shot at the end? And then if you have a shot at the end and you get a chance to, to capitalize, he did a great job today, and we did. So very thankful for that.
Before we continue, are there any other questions for Cliff? We'll go to Marty and then to Chris, and then we'll wrap, and Cliff will need to leave.
Marty Staccato, Rock Sports Network, Race Pro Weekly. Cliff, I guess I'll ask you this. The weather at the start, following up on what Cole was asking, how concerning was it? First off, the excess water before they stopped the race, before the green flag. And then, of course, you've got all the downhill stuff happening in the corners and then the S's.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit concerning. COTA kind of knocked the edge off, right? Like the edge of uncertainty and the nerves around what racing a cup car in the rain would look like. I know the next gen car is different, but it's still a 3,500 pound stock car, and we still have the rain tires and all the things that you have to go through. So not a very high level of concern, because we have a little bit of experience with it. He's raced Xfinity in the rain. I've been a part of Xfinity races in the past in the rain. So it was more about the questions surrounding tires and fuel, which would be the same questions around executing a dry race. I think in hindsight, NASCAR did a good job of how they managed the start of the race, and we got going in the wet, and the track dried up pretty quick. The rain tires seemed to do a good job, like we knew they would. Goodyear had done their homework on the tire. Once it dried out, our tires got punished, which is typically what we see. So I really didn't see anything out of kind of what we expected. I don't know if that helps answer your
Oh, yeah,
question.
yes.
Yep.
Kyle, how was it from the driver's perspective as well? 'Cause
Hey, Marty, we'll just come back to Kyle in a second. I just want to get Cliff
Yep.
to his next thing. We'll go ahead with Chris, and then we'll let Cliff go.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Cliff, looking ahead next week to Daytona, I was just curious about the strategy games. We seem to have a lot more strategy coming into effect with the summer race at Daytona than we do maybe Talladega or even Daytona in February. How much has that strategy changed with the next-gen car, and what do you think like next week's importance will be to have strategy and keep the Chevrolet team ahead of the Fords and Toyotas?
I think it's going to be very important, as we've seen at the speedways. Certainly within the OEM groups, the guys do a good job of working together. I believe in our Chevrolet group, we've still got some non-winners that could make the playoffs. So we certainly want to help those guys anytime we can. Another big priority for strategy for us, when we've been aggressive on trying to get to the front or calling aggressive strategy, we get caught up in things that happen at a speedway race. And Talladega in the spring, we called probably one of the calmest races, and he would admit probably drove one of the calmest races that we have in a long time, and we stayed in the top 4 almost all day long. And every speedway race is certainly going to play out different. We're going to try to be smart, be a good teammate to the Chevrolet guys, to the Hendrick guys, how and when we can, and certainly we've got to protect ourselves and make sure we've got a shot at the end. Yep.
All right, Cliff, thank you for your
Thanks,
time.
guys.
Congratulations. We'll let you go. We'll go ahead and continue here with questions for Kyle Larson. If you have one, please raise your hand, and we'll just take a few more here. Go ahead, Marty.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Kyle, going back to that question, what was it like from the driver's perspective when it was pouring big time? It seemed like something like it was Coda last year or something like that. And was there any water maybe dripping in the race car at the time or no?
Yeah, I mean, compared to what I remember of Coda last year, I don't remember there really being any water inside the car last year. But this year, yeah, there was a lot of just dripping water inside the car. No running water, which was nice. But yeah, and visibility, I think, had we gone green while it was raining, would have been probably difficult like it was at Coda. But it was nice that they brought us down pit road and kind of waited for the rain to stop and blew that layer of thick wetness off the track. So visibility, I didn't think was that bad when we took the green, and the track was drying up fairly quickly too. So I thought I'd be a lot better in the wet than I was. I was a little bit bummed and glad that it did dry up as quick as it did, because I was struggling in the wet. So I'll have to look at data on why that is and how I didn't manage it better, because my tires, I think, were ate up at the end of that run, where other guys had did the same strategy as us, but I was struggling bad and getting ate up. So, but yeah, no, it was fun. I mean, it's fun to get to do it every now and then, and I thought the cars handled fine in the rain too.
I know in those final laps coming to the green flag, I know the contact was incidental, but I'm curious if Chase had gotten the lead from you. How aggressive do you think you probably would have gotten there in those final laps trying to get that win?
I don't think I would have gotten close enough to him. We were pretty equally matched, and dirty air was still a thing today. So in the S's, even when I would get a decent exit off of one, if I was within 3 or 4 car lengths of him or anybody into the S's all day, I was just really tight and kind of binding the car up with my steering wheel and not able to run as much throttle as normal. So that doesn't allow me to stay close enough to him in the bus stop, and he was really good in the bus stop, really good in the carousel. So I don't think I would have ever gotten close enough to him to even try to put pressure on him and make a mistake or try and pass him.
We'll go to Jim.
Jim Utter, motorsports.com. Kyle, I was just wondering, as we've gotten to the close of the regular season, how concerned have you been, not just about winning again, but entering the playoffs without a lot of the playoff points, which you've talked about in the past? I mean, has that been a serious concern of your team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we've necessarily talked about it a whole lot, but I think it's definitely probably been on all of our minds. So Last year I think I had like 40 something points going into the playoffs, and let's see, this year I'll probably have, if I run second in the regular season, like 23, depending on how next weekend goes. So, wins are important to get those bonus points. I haven't won as many stages as I did last year, nearly as many stages as I did last year, and all those bonus points help. Even as I went into the playoffs last year and was winning a lot, I think we entered the round of 8 with like almost a full race ahead of the cutoff. So that gives you a lot of comfort. Not that you have total comfort, but So winning today and getting some bonus points, everything helps, and everything will benefit you as you go on as the playoffs start. So. I would like to have a good weekend next week and lock up that second place in points and start the playoffs. I would think as the second seeded driver probably.
And on the other side of that, is it also sort of not really good, but with the way that the season has been so wide open, and aside from maybe Chase, nobody has really pulled away.
Yeah.
Does that still kind of, even with the deficit, give you a good feeling that you can still be in a good spot?
Yeah, definitely. I think, in years past, there's been like 2 or 3 guys that win all the stages, seem to win all the races, and they kind of can distance themselves a little bit. Where this year it's like there's been no consistent guy up front. So I feel like all the playoff points have been evenly spread. So for me, who hasn't felt like we've done a good job, we're really still in a good spot on points compared to our competition. So, hopefully as the playoffs come along, we can win some more stages, win some more races. Obviously, with winning races, you advance to the next round, but still, even when you do that, you want to win stages and races to benefit yourself as you move on into the next round. So, it was good to get experience with points, last year in our back pocket, but we aren't there right now, so we need to try and get as many points as we can.
Are there any final questions for Kyle? All right, Kyle, thanks for your time.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Thanks.